Will Smith says, I apologize. Let's talk about it. Chris responds, I'm not ready to talk about it right now. Hi, peeps. It's your girl, Shell. Paprika will be breaking down Will Smith's apology video for you, so make sure you watch the full video because you're not going to want to miss that review. It's a good one. But before she gets started, I just want to give you my thoughts regarding Chris Rock's refusal to accept that apology. The only thing I can agree on regarding what's in the news right now about the Will slap is the fact that it's absolutely nonsense that it's still going on. What I don't agree with about it is the fact that they're saying Will is the one keeping up the nonsense. Now, there was an August 1st, 2022 Esquire online article, and in that article it states, and I quote, the news cycle swirling around the slap just won't stop because the man who whacked Rock at the Oscars, Will Smith, just won't stop. Question: can someone, anyone, please tell me how is it that people are saying Will Smith is the one keeping the story going? If anything, I would have to say the person that keeps it going is Chris Rock. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking right now, how can she believe that it's Chris Rock that's keeping up the nonsense? Let me tell you why. Think about this. If you have two people at odds with each other over social media and neither one of them ever apologizes, or if one apologizes and the other rejects it, how long do you think that feud would go on? It could go on for a long time, right? Now, considering that same scenario, two people feuding publicly, but this time one person apologizes and the other actually accepts it. Now, how long do you think the feud would go on? If we're honest with ourselves, we would have to say not very long. And that's because both parties decide with their action, one in offering the apology and the other in accepting it, to squash the issue, put an end to it. And as long as neither of them talks further about the issue, it usually dies down, because otherwise it's like beating a dead horse with a stick. Now, that same Esquire article states that Chris Rock wanted to be done with it, according to some anonymous source. But the question arises, how is he over it when he later states in response to Will's video apology that he isn't ready to talk about it? Now, that anonymous source stating that Chris Rock is over it, along with Rock's statement from his own mouth stating he's not ready to talk about it, these are conflicting statements. They're conflicting statements. For me personally, if I make the statement that I'm over it, that means I'm through with the situation. It doesn't get to me one way or another. And I think that's what it means for anybody making such a statement. So the fact that Chris made the statement to Will that he's not ready to talk about it, then evidently he's not over it, right? To be honest, I don't even think it really bothered Chris to the extent that he's letting on right now. True enough, he was stunned when it happened, as would you, me, and anybody else that got slapped, especially on national television. We would be stunned out of our minds. But as a man, he was probably able to just shake that mess off. As a matter of fact, he actually went on record stating that he shook it off. That's just what you do, because you can't let negativity bring you down or dictate what your life is going to be thereafter. It's up to you to decide how you're going to let whatever you go through affect you. Chris Rock, if he was over it, he would have accepted Will Smith's apology. To me, the most sane thing to do is to accept the apology. And I'm not saying that Chris had to be fake or anything like that, because if you accept the person's apology, you want to be sincere. You should be sincere. So my question is, why won't Chris accept Will's apology? Will wronged him. And most people who are done wrong, they want an apology. And once that apology is given to them, they accept it. Accepting an apology doesn't mean that you want everything to go back to the way it is, or the way it was, rather. We see pictures in the media that shows that Will and Chris had some type of a relationship before this slap. They were seen together on various occasions. They did projects together. They were cordial with one another. And you would see them smile when they were in the presence of one another. But accepting an apology from Will doesn't mean that Chris would be accepting their life back the way it was before. No, it just means, okay, yes, Chris acknowledges that Will apologizes and believes that Will is sincere. So now let's just squash it, put it to bed, and be done with it. After that, it would soon die out. But the reason why it's not dying out is because Chris is refusing to accept the apology. And it makes a person wonder if, on one hand, he's saying he wants it to be over with, but on the other hand, he's allowing it to linger on by not accepting the apology. Then what is the motive? My thoughts immediately go to finance. I think it's a money thing. Every time, and this is my experience, and from what I've been noticing, every time I see it come up, it's either in a news article from somebody other than Will or in a YouTube video by somebody other than Will. The only time I see Will speak on it is if he's trying to apologize again. Another way I might see it is if somebody's mentioning in an article, a news article or something, about how Chris Rock is speaking on it in one of his comedy shows. And yes, he has every right to talk about it because it involves him. He's the one who was slapped. He was done wrong. But don't say it won't go away because of Will Smith when you're mostly responsible for it continuing to thrive. And to me, his constantly mentioning it only during his comedy acts tells me that he's refusing to accept the apology because as long as he refuses, the story stays open. And as long as the story stays open, that creates negativity between the two of them. And as long as that negativity is there, he can capitalize on it by telling his jokes during his comedy shows. People, it's a way for him to pad his room, to pad his audience. Because if people anticipate him talking about it, they're going to pay that money so that they can be there and hear firsthand his side of the story. Now, to support that, there was a Billboard article headlined, Chris Rock's ticket sales reportedly surge after Oscars slap. In that article, it reveals that the night after the slap, the website claimed to have sold more tickets in one overnight period after the Oscars than they sold in a whole month. And the ticket prices jumped from $46 to upward of $300, according to Variety. It also stated that at press time, tickets for his show in Boston were priced at $460 and up. And the Ticketmaster sold out of tickets. And that's all I have to say about it. And I want to thank you all for letting me vent because I sure needed to get that out of my system. Now, before I pass the mic to Paprika, just a reminder, after you leave your comment, remember to give the video a thumbs up and share it with others. And please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you can be notified when our next video is uploaded. Here's Paprika.
In his apology video, Will apologizes to everyone from Chris Rock and his mother to Academy producer Will Packard to the fellow nominees like Questlove and many, many others. Was it enough? Was the apology too late? Will said he didn't realize how many people his action hurt. So, wouldn't the same hold true for Chris concerning the joke? Wouldn't Chris Rock, using the same line of reasoning, then owe Jada's mom an apology? Alopecia is a medical condition, and to make light or a joke of it is insensitive. What practically everyone is forgetting is what precipitated the slap in the first place. Chris Rock is not an innocent bystander. He made an insulting and an insensitive joke about a person's medical condition if you're looking at this from the standpoint of one suffering from alopecia. Will then apologize to Chris's brother Tony. I get that because they were friends. And so he needed to apologize to his friend because it was his friend's brother. And friends or not, at the end of the day, Chris is Tony's family. But I don't think that their friendship is beyond repair. On the contrary, the fact that Will took the time to reflect on his action gave him the insight to see that his action did involve others, but it also went a long way in adding validity to the sincerity of his apology. And true friends do forgive one another. Will next owns up to the fact that in no way was his action the proper way to handle a feeling of disrespect and insult felt by Chris' joke, And I add the words from his wife's point of view, as Jada was the one who was displeased by the rolling of her eyes and the disgust on her face. And then reading many of the comments concerning Will's apology, they feel that he was insincere. Why is it so hard to believe that Will's apology was sincere? I mean, Will stated he hates letting people down, that it's his central trauma. And you know what? That rings true, as his character up until the slap proves that it was not the norm and was totally out of his character. To the contrary, he was and still is, to many people, very likable. I mean, he's always jovial, always happy, and upbeat. Here's a man who came on the scene in his teens, and he is now what, 52 years old? And within that 40-year, wait, let me repeat it for the people in the back, 40-year career span, he made one mistake. One mistake. In light of that fact, it is not and should not be hard to believe his apology is sincere. I mean, the man is human and an imperfect human, like all of us. We all make mistakes. We all, at one point or another, have let someone down, sometimes repeatedly. Why then can't Will be shown grace? Why then is Chris dragging this out by responding to Will's reaching out to him with a, I'm not ready to talk? Action speaks louder than words. And if, as Shell stated in her part, that Chris wants this to be over, wouldn't he accept the olive branch and hear Will out? Will can't do any more than apologize. He's been and is still being dragged through the mud much longer than is necessary based on his character in the past. He's been suspended from the academy for 10 years, which is 8 years too long. He took the time, 4 months to be exact, to reflect, showing that he took what he did seriously. He publicly apologized and abased himself, as he should, since the incident did occur on the air. What further is needed? What other reason could there be for a person to be unwilling to allow someone to redeem themselves? There are two parts of the apology that I have a problem with. The first one is his response to the question of, did Jada say something to you after she rolled her eyes? I mean, why do you think they asked that question? Let's review, shall we? The televised camera lens showed the only one who had a problem with the joke was Jada. Everyone, and I do mean everyone, including Will, in that camera shot reacted with laughter to the joke, with the exception of Jada. That's why the question was so obvious. I mean, how do you go, Will, from a knee jerk reaction of laughter to then getting up on the stage and slapping Chris? Even Will's body language and the cadence of his voice is different in the video when he's responding to that question, and also when he says Jada had nothing to do with it. I mean, that's so far fetched as the joke was about Jada. The annoyance was emanating from Jada. The eye roll was from Jada. Will was not looking at Jada when she rolled her eyes, so how did he know she was not happy about the joke? It stands to reason, and it is logical to think that she had to have said something to him in order for him to know she was displeased. So, how could she not have anything to do with it? You know, I even saw a clip of her red table talk where Jada said, these two men need to sit down and talk. My reaction? What you talking about, Willis? I mean, she's still making it a Will problem while totally disregarding her part in this whole situation. Makes a thinking person wonder why she never supports Will, while clearly Will is still protecting her. The second part I have a problem with is Will saying sorry for the heat he brought on his family. Scratching my head. What heat? Again, this is far fetched to say the least. Why does Will have to apologize for the entire world crisis? I mean, it was Will's star power that allowed the launching of his son's acting career. And yes, Jaden is quite talented at acting. It also allowed the launching of Willow's singing career. Again, Willow is talented. She really can sing. But come on, the saying still remains, it's not what you know, but who you know. And there's nothing wrong with that, as we all do it. We all know that it never hurts to have friends in high places. It cuts out some of the paying dues steps that we take in order to arrive. Will does not need to further abase himself. The slap was one act. The apology is the resulting and fitting reaction. End of chapter. Close this book. As Shell stated, what is the motive behind not accepting the apology? Could it be financial? Could it be to extend the 15 minutes of fame from the slapping incident to an hour or longer? Of the three people involved in the incident, Jada, Will, and Chris, the only one with the true global and longevity star power is Will. Think on that for a while. Well, peeps, that's our review. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below as we like hearing from you. Please share this video and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to turn on your post notification, and if you're new to this channel, please help us out and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.